Jesus said, "This is the first and greatest commandment. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it. Love others as you love yourself." So the question is, do you love? I mean, do you really live the definition of love? Are you patient? Are you kind? Do you celebrate in the blessings of others? Are you humble? Have you died to self? Are you slow to anger? Do you keep no record of wrongs? Do you always protect, always trust, always hope, always persevere? This is what it means to love, the way God intended. So the question remains, do you love?
Praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device at David G. Evans, the #1. That's at David G. Evans, the #1. We're so glad you've taken the time to join us today. Why don't you do us a favor? Why don't you like and subscribe and share whatever social media platform you're on? Wouldn't you please do us a favor and invite those of you that follow you, those that are your friends, to join us once again for what we think is going to be another stimulating conversation. As we have a distinction, we approach world events, regional events, local events, all from a biblical or kingdom perspective. So our opinions are driven by our relationship with God and His Word, and we look forward to having that kind of stimulating conversation with you. It does not mean we don't have opposing opinions on this show, but we know how to disagree without being disagreeable. So if you like that kind of conversation, you want to talk about current events, we talk about politics, we talk about sports, cultural events, we talk about all those things that make up the times that we live in, because we are guided by the Word of God when it says understanding the times and knowing what to do. That's important to understand, and then from a biblical perspective, from a kingdom perspective, know how to respond to the environment that is presenting to us, whether it's local, national, regional, international. Things affect you and I every day of our lives. You can give us a call toll free from anywhere in the world, 866-743-8267. That's 866-743-8267. That's 866-74-EVANS. Give us a call. We love to talk to you this morning. We're on from 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10 a.m. So we love the opportunity to have a talk with you. If it's your first time calling us, don't hesitate. Don't be shy. Jump on in. The water's fine. It won't hurt you. We love having a conversation with you. Our co-host is here once again, Reverend Nicholas A. Smith.
Yes.
What's up, man?
Good morning.
How you doing?
Okay.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure where to start. Something that we predicted, that we thought, I hope would not happen, but the pattern over the last 3.5, 4 years has been correct. There is a COVID surge happening. We understand Florida is at the top of the list again. I've been getting health reports for the last 5 weeks now from Camden County, where we're located, that the numbers are rising very rapidly. I don't know what it's going to take before people take this seriously. I know they're trying to talk about it like it's the common cold, but it's not common. It's like the flu on steroids, and it's morphing once again because people are being jammed together. Social events, family events, those type of things, and it's spreading and it's growing and it's changing. So if the last 3.5 years have patterns are consistent, we're looking at a fall where there's going to be quite a new outbreak. The way we can prevent this, but I don't see it happening. No.
People are.
Yeah.
You go to a store now, you're one of the rare ones still wearing a mask.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess people, because I'm responsible for people,
Mm-hmm.
because you're responsible for people,
Mm-hmm.
we have to take precautions because we can't, I can't tell my 90-year-old aunt, I can't tell her family, oh, I didn't think, oh, I'm sorry. And, and they're laid up for however long they're going to be laid up.
Yeah.
And it's, I think the media and business want to frame it as it's just like the common cold, but it's not.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, the cold didn't kill people, so.
Yeah. I think some people are just over it. Like, it's going to be here for a while. Eventually, we got to live. And the other part, I see some people saying, this is true, and it's a good thing, but I'm still keeping my precautions. The surges aren't as bad as they were the previous years.
Okay.
However, to me, that doesn't mean
No.
Just every illness loses its,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean you just kind
It's
of
market value.
Yeah.
It's curb appeal.
Yeah.
So they're not breaking in as many houses in the neighborhood, so I'm not putting my alarm on.
Right. Yeah. And hospitalizations aren't as high as they were the years before, but they're still.
Well, and they
high.
say the surge is coming.
Yeah, it's still.
So, and my doctor told me, my cardiologist told me, he said that unless a person is like, and these are my words, at death's door, they're sending them home.
Yeah.
So that's why the hospitalizations
Yeah.
are, and they make a decision that if it gets that bad, you can bring them back. But to me, it's just, what happened to prevention? Why do we just react to things? It's like this whole abortion conversation. We're pro-life, pro-Bible. I don't think we'd ever think of trying to imprint our beliefs on someone else. But I'm hearing a whole lot of conversation about abortion. I'm not hearing as nearly as much about prevention. So why not prevent so you don't have to abort?
Yeah.
I mean, is that too much common sense?
It is.
Okay.
It is. But, you're growing up we're in this society now where you're free to do you. It's
Okay.
like I saw somebody say the craziest thing in the world,
Okay.
that just because I have sex doesn't mean I'm required to get pregnant. I'm like, have you learned what 1 +
Required?
1? I lie to you not.
This was an adult?
This was an adult said this. 1 + 1 still equals
That's
2.
disappointing.
And I know. I know. I'm like, if you gonna go do it, at least this person wasn't saved, of course. At least have some wisdom, practice safe sex.
So they don't
contraceptives.
they don't care if they get pregnant or abortion's the option.
Abortion's the option, yeah. For some people, yeah.
So it's back to my question. Why not prevent it? Why take the chance on having to go through the psychological ringer of is it alive, is it not alive? I mean, why not just wipe that argument off the table and just practice some birth control?
Yeah.
If you're going to do it.
Yeah. They don't think they don't think through the decision.
But there's a kid at the end of the decision.
I know. Because they're framing again that lie that it's a fetus, it's not a real human being. But it's still life, though.
My eternal question has been that way. I was in a debate, told you this a long time ago. At one of the banks I worked at, we were all sitting around on a break and talking, and abortion comes up. And, we had some very strong, hard-charging females. I was the only person of color in the department, as I can remember at this time. Yeah, there was about 30 of us. I was the only person of color there. And at that time, the only saved individual. And we had some very notable people in the department, John Kelly Jr., all of us were working at the bank at the same time. In case you guys don't know, John Kelly is, the Kellys were Grace Kelly, Kelly Sr., Philadelphia, that son we were all working together. And the question came up about abortion. And so they finally came around to me and said, well, what do you think, Dave? And I said, regardless of the weeks, if you didn't have an abortion, what would you have?
Yep.
And back then, of course, it wasn't a drop mic moment, but the whole conversation stopped. Nobody had an answer, because that's the truth.
It's the truth.
If you didn't terminate whatever you think it is, what would you have?
Yep.
So that not life thing doesn't work.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
But their thing is, I shouldn't be required to.
That's ridiculous.
To have a child and.
Well, then prevent one.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't think through prevention. And you have adults thinking like this. Now I get some teenagers at times when you're a kid, you don't think, you don't know the fullness of your consequences.
Right.
But as an adult, this is to me common sense. This is not a difficult situation.
Okay.
You have unprotected sex. And you open yourself up to whatever happens.
Yeah, whatever happens.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. But again, they're framing it. And you've had people say, "I'm glad I got an abortion because it would have derailed my career, would have whatever."
Decisions never rest.
Yeah.
And those decisions do come back to haunt you later on. Wow.
And and you brought the psychological effects too.
Oh, absolutely.
They act like it's just, I'm going to do this and be okay. They don't think about 5, 10, 15 years later, the psychological and emotional effects it takes on the woman
right,
who has the abortion.
Yep.
I mean, we both counsel women who had abortion.
Oh, yeah. And it doesn't go away.
Yeah, 20 years later, they're still...
It does not go away.
Yeah.
Because every time you see a kid, you're reminded,
Yep.
One of those was growing inside of me.
Yeah. My child would have been 20 years.
It doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
That decision never takes a rest. 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267, 866-74 Evans. We want you to give us a call. This is On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America. My co-host, Reverend Nicholas Smith. I'm Bishop David Evans, and we are glad to talk to you this morning. Danny is on the line already. I see that Governor DeSantis was invited to a meeting because people wanted to hear what he had to say about this new curriculum in Florida, and he deigned not to show, but now he's not taking credit for signing the bill. How do you put something in the law? You're the governor, but now you don't want to be given credit for it.
I didn't see that. Okay.
It's ridiculous.
It is. It is.
So I see he suspended some folk that disagree with him. I'm not sure how you do that. I didn't think that was legal in the state. You just kick people out of a job because they have a different prosecutorial idea than you do.
They cover it with this person's not doing their job the way they're supposed to, not upholding the law the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That,
Anytime. Yeah.
Like the statistician who was reporting the COVID numbers accurately, and they didn't want to report it accurately, so they fired her.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're not doing your job the way we wanted to.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, we need you to be lying about it.
Never mind, you're elected.
Now, what I'm not, and you're a Republican, right? No, I'm kidding. Historically, what I understand of the Republican Party and the Republicans I know, they don't want a government that meddles in their personal decisions.
Yes.
Why does this particular party now nationally seem to have want their hands in everything you do? People's bedrooms, what my kid can read. I mean, what happened to, that's government that's too big. We need.
Big government is only big when it doesn't fit their platform. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, we're upholding the Constitution and American values.
Okay. So Houston, Texas is going to get rid of the libraries?
Yeah. In some schools, they're getting rid of libraries and
make them places for detention?
Yes.
Is that because kids don't use the libraries anymore?
No, not because of that. It's in certain schools.
When you say certain schools, what are you saying?
It seems like more a low income, middle to low income areas.
So we got a disciplinary problem. We need to eliminate the books for the kids they're smart enough.
Yeah, but again, we talked about it years ago that they built prisons in areas based off the kids in kindergarten. They look at certain areas that have a certain population. Okay. And they make assessments. Okay. And they will build a prison.
These kids are probably going to end up in jail?
Yes.
And build the prison based on probability?
Yes.
And it's been working for them, obviously.
Yes, it's money. So that's why they call it that school to prison pipeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They are devious.
So they finally arrested the Carly Russell woman for faking her abduction?
Yeah, she went in. And
what was the point?
Nobody really knows. She hasn't said the point. Nobody knows what she did during that time frame.
Or why she did it.
She's not publicly saying anything.
If it has something as simple as I wanted to raise my social media profile.
Yeah, attention and
attention and all that egotism, self-driven, empire building mentality that seems to be quite pervasive now.
That's true though.
I don't get it. Let's talk about something that's absolutely. We got Danny on the phone. We got Tom on the phone. We're going to go to that. We got to talk about this fire in Maui.
Yeah.
And how are they going to assist these people? Because I saw a newsreel of people literally jumping into the ocean to get away from the fire.
Yep.
People leapt out of their cars and ran to the water.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Let's go to Danny. Hey, Danny, how you doing? Danny. Hey, Danny. We'll go back to Dan. Tom, how you doing?
Good morning, Bishop. How you doing?
Hey, Tom.
Pastor Nick.
How you doing?
Doing all right?
Earlier, you were saying something about our educational system and our governor.
Mm-hmm.
Bishop, he kicks people out of office, and I don't know how he gets away with it. What I mean by that is not this prosecutor. This is the second prosecutor he's done. He's done a sheriff. And the reason he kicked her out is because she supposedly is, how can I put it? She's not following the rules in which he thinks should be done, but she's following her campaign goals. So it's not like she came in and she's ignoring the law. She promised to reduce doing certain things, and she's following up.
Prison reform was one of her big things.
He doesn't want that?
No.
Yeah, because that whole what's they called, the Republicans? They're hard on crime. That kind
law
of
and order people.
Law and order people. Yeah, except when it fits.
That's what I was getting ready to add.
Yeah.
So she's doing what she's supposed to do. She's following through on her campaign promises. Perhaps this tells us something that's more insidious. Maybe, like himself, and like his record has proven, that it was just campaign talk. I'm going to do something totally opposite of that once I get in office.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you think, if you look at it on just purely what he's saying,
yeah,
it looks like she's not doing her job. But what she's doing is exactly, and she won by 66% of the vote.
Wow.
She's doing exactly what she said she was going to do.
And she got fired for that.
Yeah.
She disagreed with him. Mm-hmm. I remember when former President Trump was running for office. I called my buddy Herb Lusk in Philly because I was concerned about the things he was saying on the campaign trail. Mm. And Herb told me, he said, "Oh man, that's just campaign talk. He's not going to do any of that." So, so I waited for about 6 months before I asked him, "What do you think now?" Mm. And Herb said, "Man, that guy's crazy."
Yeah.
Because the tactic is, you say what you need to say to get elected, but you're not going to follow through with it. Yep. But these guys are serious about this. Mm-hmm. These insane points of view and platforms. They're serious about inflicting this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and because they've got a group of people that are not going to be surprised when they do something crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned about the continued violence that we're going to see if we keep doing this us versus them. Mm-hmm. It's going to explode more and more. You can't get around it.
What do you think? I've got a hypothesis, and I'm ready to be corrected by you and Tom this morning. If I am a party that was dominant, and I'm now a party that isn't, but I want my dominance back, I think there are only two tactics. I change the rules, and I divide groups of people.
Yep.
So I think these are all symptoms of the Republican Party having lost contact with America. And now they're trying to garner things through violence and through really what I think are insane statements that they're making as a whole. I mean, when, like Tuberville, you know, supposed to be a football coach at one time. How do you start messing with the army that you say you support?
I'm going to scare you into voting for me because the other thing is bad. I'm just going to scare you so bad.
But you know they've got statistics that really works with people.
It does work.
Because they had a governor in Texas. She was doing a magnificent job for everybody, and how they got her out was convince suburban people that they weren't going to be safe, even though they had become safer. They weren't going to be safe if she came back as governor again, and that's what lost her the election.
It's the Nixon thing.
You
run on that law and order, that fear base, and it works.
But I don't know what the Republican Party is doing right now, and I got a lot of friends that are Republicans, but I don't know. But I got to be honest. A lot of the pastoral relationships and clergy relationships that I had when President Trump got in office, former President Trump got in office, those relationships were gone. I mean, and almost hostile.
Yeah, they were.
And I thought for years, we're okay. We're not, bosom buddies. We're not having sleepovers and stuff. But they went from A to Z, man.
Revealed themselves.
Yes.
That's their view of America.
Yes.
And to put God behind it
is insidious.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What were you going to say, Tom?
Sorry.
No, I agree. I've seen both ends. I was surprised that some people I have respect for who I used to work with. But I saw both sides. Matter of fact, I saw some Caucasian friends arguing among themselves. One who's, right wing, one left.
Right.
But still, the ones that were so far right, if you told me this 10 years ago, I would have said, nah, those guys are a little more,
Yeah.
I can't even stomach talking to them now. I try to avoid them. I don't try to, I just do avoid them.
Yeah.
It's nothing but, Facebook kind of stuff. But I can't believe the views and how far left they are. I mean, far right.
Yeah, I've told this story before, Tom, over last couple of years. But when Trump was elected, a guy that I worked out with 3 times a week, I found out he had been harboring some resentment the entire time. And the day happened to be at the gym the day after the election. He walked up to me and asked me, "Well, how you feeling?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" "I feel fine." He said, "Well, Trump won last night." I said, "Well, sun came up, birds are still singing. I'm here at the gym, you're here at the gym." He says, "No, how do you feel now that we're in charge?" This guy hid this persona from me for 8 years, man.
Yeah.
So every time I saw him, he had a subtle resentment. Because we thought we were in charge. And this is an intelligent, professional business owner.
How childish.
Unbelievable. The negativity that he had been harboring, obviously harboring, and obviously there was a strong reaction to Obama being elected.
Bishop, when I was doing the first campaign for Obama, I was working doing some canvassing with people, and I was in Cherry Hill, and I walked up on this guy, $1 million neighborhood, and guy said, I'm gonna be honest with you. He goes, "I may vote for Obama, but my dad's not going to."
Okay.
And he gave me the reason behind it.
Okay, what was it?
He said, "I grew up. I never saw my father with any racial biases as far as he thought." But he said his father told him directly, "I can't vote for him because he's black."
That's what his dad said?
And he said to me, this guy said to me, "I'm just telling you this because there are people who have that mindset that will never tell you that to your face.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I saw an interview on TV, and the woman acknowledged the superior qualifications that Obama brought.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his education, his activism for people in need. I mean, all of that. She said, but I can't vote for him, and so I'm waiting for like this political reason. Mm-hmm. She said, I can't vote for him. He said, you know, he's black, and I'm like, wait a minute, you just listed all these accomplishments, all the things you would like to see in a candidate, but you'd rather get someone else without those qualifications, simply because of the color of his skin.
Too much change.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and President Obama knows this. After he got out and Trump won, I think it was like a year or two later, he admitted he didn't consider how the country would react to a black president.
Okay.
And we've all been saying it. Who would have thought that a black president would have brought this out to the forefront and caused this type of reaction?
It was there.
It was there. It just, and he admitted, he said, I did not realize that side of America would respond the way they did.
Well, I think what happened was the racism could no longer hide behind subtlety and sophistication, which shows me that the heart of it was extremely strong. The passion about it was extremely strong, and there had been restraint until now. You know, we've gone too far. So, and I think it was the same thing with Mrs. Clinton running.
I believe that's one of the reasons why she lost.
Oh, I believe so too, because the same qualities that she has would be admirable in a man.
Yep.
You know, they say she's calculating and she's, you know, she's reserved, and all that stuff is absolutely acceptable in most men.
Yep. And something you said years ago, the difference between if it's a black man and he's assertive, aggressive, they call him arrogant. You can but if it's a white man, it's
same qualities. He's a go-getter.
Yeah. And that's the craziest thing, and that's probably why they thought we were in charge. But it's like, no, we understood.
We didn't think we were in charge.
Black president does not mean black people running the country.
No.
Like, it's just, come on.
And if that was the case, some of his programs would have been, a lot of his stuff was left on the table because Boehner and those guys said it on national TV. We're not going to approve anything. We're going to block everything. But they came on the slow bus. Didn't work the first 4 years. He got reelected. And they tried it again, and it was like, yo, dude, you're making your own people suffer to prove a point.
And that middle America, Obamacare. It's government overreach is too much. They didn't realize all those places where your hospital is 20 miles away from you.
They needed it.
Obamacare brought in all those urgent cares. And they told one of their people that, like, you know, Obamacare helped put medical facilities in areas where they didn't have it.
Right.
And they were like, so what? We don't like it because it's Obamacare. We want Trump care. What is Trump's health plan?
Until my kid breaks his leg.
Thank you. Then all of a sudden they're glad he got it.
But we remember years ago we had a guy on, used to call in from Northeast Philadelphia, Ben Salem. And he used to call in, and he was adamant about this Obamacare, which it really wasn't. It was government health care. And then, but he was strong enough that months later he called back. He says, I need to apologize. I was against it, but then I lost my job. I had to go get it. And it's helped me and my family day in and day out. But we don't have those kind of callers don't call off.
No, because it was who?
That's right.
And they said Trump's going to come something better, and came up with
nothing. They had no plan at all.
No plan.
Christie, you know, you don't have to like Governor Christie, but I heard him say that last night. No replacement for Obamacare, no wall, no this, no that.
He was
still voting for
it. Was campaign talk.
Yeah.
And they went for it, and then they lived off the campaign talk while he was in office. So he didn't have to. They talk about, you know, how I saw a lady yesterday, how great the country was doing when he was. Not you, miss.
Right. Exactly.
Not you. You know, the stock market was doing great. How much stock do you have, ma'am?
Right.
Diddly.
Right. Ain't got nothing to do with you.
What kind of income did you make from the stock market?
Right.
Diddly. Man, we got to go, Tom. I'm hoping Danny's on the line now.
I just want to say, young lady, the gymnast.
Yes.
She's back and killing it.
With a vengeance.
Yeah. Oh, Simone. Yeah.
Yeah,
she
she's
is. Yep.
killing them all over again.
Yep.
Talk to you, man. Bye bye. Let's go to Danny. Danny, are you there? Hello, Danny.
Bishop, good morning. How
Hey,
you
Danny.
doing?
All right,
How's
man.
everyone?
How you doing?
Where are you at the beach, man?
No, it's too hot, Bishop. It's trying to get up to 100 right now.
Is it?
Yeah, it is burning hot. You actually go outside, it's a different feel altogether. It stings. It's that hot.
You can feel it on your skin.
You can feel it. You can feel it burning.
Wow. So not only is it hot, but it's intense.
Very, very, very burning hot. Literally burning hot.
Jesus.
Wow.
But,
Now, what's it supposed to get up to today?
They feel with the heat index, it should get up about like 110, 112, somewhere in there.
All right, help me with
2
something, Dan.
weeks.
Help me with something, Dan. What exactly is the heat index? I mean, if it's 100 degrees, is that 100, or are they saying it feels like something else?
It feels like.
All right, now here's my question.
It's actually 99.
Okay.
But it feels like when you figure in the humidity,
Yeah.
the humidity is what gets you.
Okay, let me ask you a question again. So exactly what scale of measure do they have? That if it's 100, but it feels like 115. Where's the feel like scale? Because I don't get. How do you calculate feels like?
So
Well, when you
Wait a minute, you got it, Pastor Nick?
it says what the temperature feels like to the human body when relative humidity is combined with the air temperature. So when he said you could feel it on your skin,
Yeah.
that's I think what you're talking about. That it's 100 degrees, but our bodies, the humidity and the heat combined,
Yeah.
the way our bodies react to it.
But
Right.
It's
does
hot.
it account for the differences in people? Because Danny's lived in Florida, what, your whole life, Danny?
yes,
So to him, it might feel like 100, but to you and I, it might feel like 120. But
I get, yeah, it might be circumstantial.
to feel like
you
it.
don't want to get in the
Yeah.
water because your water temperature now is almost equal to the air temperature. That's the problem.
The water's hot too?
Yeah, the water's hot. The water's like
Water's hot.
People are going to the beach, but not really getting in the water because the water's too hot.
But how are you going to stay on the sand when it's that hot?
They're out there.
Because that reflects off the sand.
I know, but I think it could be the difference between how black people can live in Africa.
Yes.
Because our skin.
Yes.
And
yes.
those in Europe, more fleshly,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
so they can handle the environment.
I guess.
Where they live.
More intracellular fat
Yes.
allows you to handle the cold better than those without it.
Yes.
People of color tend not to have intracellular fat.
Yeah.
So we get colder.
Yes.
Yes.
Which
But,
allows us to. Yeah.
Bishop, I want to continue something that I asked you about last week.
Okay.
Two places that are great significance, and it's
Oh, that's right.
great.
I'm glad you brought that up. Tell us, man.
Okay, which is Rosewood, Florida,
Okay.
and Ocoee, Florida.
Okay.
Okay, it came to play right back this week. Now, geographically, if you look and see where those areas were located, what used to be, where they're located. All right? To show you how things actually happen, the prosecutor was fired in that area, which is Central Florida,
Okay.
Orlando area.
Okay.
Okay, got it?
Yeah.
Now, things happen there. Like we hear about Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, and what have you.
Yeah.
But the same identical thing happened in those communities in Florida,
And then Rosewood and Ocoee, right?
in Ocoee.
Ocoee. Okay.
Yes, yes. And the people were very well educated. They had a good system, business, and what have you. But everything was taken from them, and they were not given back the land that was taken from them. Same situation. You see this repeating over and over again. We have in our minds, they try to tell us that it was just one location where it happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but it's happening everywhere.
It was a lot more.
It was a lot more.
They actually have like a whole thing on every single place something like Tulsa took place.
Wow.
It was frequent.
Yes.
And
Too much advancement.
yeah, too much advancement. But
Okay, now,
sorry, go ahead, Dave.
excuse me, but watch where I'm going with this now. Okay, now they let the prosecutor go, they came up with these charges where she wasn't doing her job. She was.
Okay.
She was meeting the expectation. If you look at the crime rate, it decreased.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how did she lose her job? These sheriffs got together and said, we don't like her.
Why didn't they like her?
Because she wasn't doing what they wanted. That was locking people up, okay, on trumped up charges, and also the youth.
So was this prosecutor a white female, person of color?
She black.
She black?
Black woman.
Yes.
Black woman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jails in Florida are privately run.
So no prisoners, no money.
No money.
Wow.
Now, these places, the thing about it is that these areas, even though the cities do not exist, the traditions and the things that went on up until the 90s, the late 90s. Certain areas are cold. These areas, you could not move in. You and I, we couldn't move in that area.
Okay.
In fact, they had covenants in or deed restrictions that if you were to sell your house, you could not sell it to a black person in the 90s.
Well, you know what's really strange is that one of our pastors in New York was telling me that there's a city in New York where they still have a sunset law. Mm-hmm. And the black folk know not to be in the center city and run in the street after 6 o'clock at night. Now, this is happening now.
Mm-hmm.
In New York, that you always think progressive, cosmopolite, that whole thing. But there's sunset laws still going on in some cities in the United States where black folk in those cities feel like, the best thing for me to do is get myself home when the sun goes down.
Now, to add insult to injury, and I'll get off the line, is that the governor extended an invitation for Kamala Harris to come down.
Mm-hmm.
And she declined. But I wish that she would have come, because that was the opportunity to bring up the history. They're talking about teaching history.
Mm-hmm.
Bring up these two cities, which they just totally wiped out. Let us know exactly. The young people know about these things that happened, that went on. They're trying to squash that. They're trying to keep it down.
But that's not the type of thing that Governor DeSantis would want people to know.
Yeah, but he's supposed to know everything and do everything, and he's squashing these things. Now, they had a meeting in Dade County I think it was last night or the night before.
I heard about it night before last.
Yes, and the commissioner for education for the state, they invited him to come. He said he was going to come.
Yeah.
At the last minute, the day before, he declined to come.
Yeah, I heard a lot of them declined.
They didn't even show up. Now, you're going to go ahead, it's election time. You don't even show up. You don't send a representative on an important issue like that.
You know why I think they didn't come, Dan?
Believe that nothing happened. We didn't do anything.
You know why I think they didn't come? Because I don't think you can righteously defend the position. There's some things that just are indefensible and they just want them because they want them. I don't think they can righteously defend the position. I mean, who's going to believe on any planet, except someone who was not a slave, that being a slave with no rights and all had advantages?
Yeah.
Who's going to believe that? Right. Nobody but the slave master.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then how can you dismiss somebody who is voted in and you just come and just fire him?
Why do you guys continue to let him do this stuff? Because it's not the first time.
It's going over and over again. That's not the first time he did that.
No, but why do Florida residents continue to allow him to do this?
I think because Congress, if I'm correct, Danny, most of the Congress down there is Republican, right? And
correct.
so they run the whole.
So are they afraid of him too?
Yeah, they're not doing anything. The Congress, the courts and stuff, they're mainly Republican.
Bishop, you and I say this all the time.
Okay.
We say that Jersey is more corrupt than Florida. I said, no, I disagree with you.
Look,
I disagree with you.
I haven't read you guys' book yet. They wrote a book on us called The Soprano State. So until you get one of those, you can't tell me anything.
I have a dictionary. I have a library.
But tell me this, Danny. I understand you guys have to be a little cautious about leprosy right now.
That's my next subject, okay? Bishop, I always ask you, is God talking to us?
I think he might be. Leprosy in Florida?
Right.
And where? Where in Florida?
Where?
Central Florida.
Central Florida, yeah.
Around Orlando?
Yes.
Leprosy.
All of a sudden, we got Hawaii that's burning up. No escape.
And leprosy in Florida. I understand you guys are at the top of the COVID surge already.
It's surging again, but they're not talking about it. It's surging.
Unbelievable. And they're telling people they can go back to work in 3 days. How do they expect the thing to subside if you're sending people back to work in a closed environment, and it's not gone in 3 days? Yeah. No. I talked to an infectious disease doctor, beginning, midpoint, and off and on now, and I asked her a question. I said, does COVID have any idea of the rules that we put in place for it? And she started laughing. She said, no, Bishop. No. Does COVID know anything about 6 feet, 3 days, 5? Does COVID know anything about that stuff? She said, no, Bishop, it doesn't. I said, then what are we doing? She said, we're trying to appease ourselves.
Yeah.
Question, Bishop, what season is coming up?
I don't know. Football?
Football. Man, remember the Super Bowl?
Yeah, man.
2 Super Bowls in a row during COVID in Florida?
Yeah. They were in Florida too, weren't they?
Yes.
And they wondered why when people get home, COVID was all over the country.
And it spread.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. So what's really weird is that you could move up to Alabama, Danny, and have a fight on the riverfront.
Yeah.
Bishop, the bad part about that in Florida, with the gun law, they're doing it on I-95.
Oh man!
Let somebody cut you off, or somebody cut somebody off.
And they're shooting?
They don't talk about it. They pull out the guns and start.
No.
People, yeah, they will.
Everybody doesn't need to own a gun.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
And that you might as well call Florida the wild South.
I know.
All right, Dan, man. We'll talk to you. Tell my sister I said hello.
Thank you so much, Pastor Nate.
See you, man. Take care.
God bless you, man. 866-743-8267. We'd love to talk to you. 866-743-8267. Toll free. Give us a call. We love talking to you. This is On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America. Now, Pastor Nick, why do you think that the Republican Party has zeroed in on education?
I think, personally, they want to frame history that fits their
narrative.
Their narrative. There's a certain type of narrative. It lost me. It's gone. But a certain type of view to raise their kids of this fictitious American story. That some of what we learned growing up, when you learn the reality of it, wasn't really real.
Right.
Stuff happened, but the perspective of it, the framing of it.
They change how they shape it. Yeah.
And what did somebody said something that those who write history are usually those who are in charge.
Sure.
So they're able to write it how they want to.
Yeah.
There's this book called.
They know how to nuance it.
Yeah, they know how to make it.
Yeah, they know how to nuance it.
But hearing it from the people, there's actually a book out.
Those that it actually happen to have a somewhat different perspective than those that write it.
Somebody wrote a history book of America from the view of the people. It's one of those books I had to read a little bit, put it down. Read a little bit, put it down.
Okay, so I shouldn't read it at all.
No, because it tells it from the human being perspective.
Okay.
Not those who are in charge.
That's usually remarkably different.
Much different.
Like when I tell people that I had personal experience with lunch counters and which water fountain to use and which restroom to use, in states like Maryland and Virginia, some parts of Pennsylvania, some parts of Delaware. When I tell people that, people look at you in a very quizzical way, like, nah, you got to be exaggerating. That didn't really happen. You know, so but back in those days, you know, we didn't have cell phones, and also we couldn't take pictures.
Yeah.
You know, the water fountain, colored only, that kind of stuff. We couldn't take pictures, so you know, to go from the personal testimony. But I see people when I'm talking about this stuff, they're kind of incredulous, and they're like, was it really that bad? Well, and what was bad was the white water fountain was higher than the colored water fountain. And the white water fountain drained into the colored water fountain. So you had the wash coming into the fountain that we were supposed to use. But as a boy, when I saw that, I walked up to it and I saw how it was fixed. I said, no, I'm not drinking this. No. You know, I'll get dehydrated first. Right. Fortunately, we were close to Norfolk at that time, and Virginia, and you know, I just waited. Told my uncle, I'm not drinking out of that fountain, man.
No, but their thing is they don't want to let their kids be uncomfortable with the truth. The other thing is, I don't know why we can't.
But they don't mind us being uncomfortable with a lie.
With a lie, yes.
Okay.
My thing is, why can't we just deal with nuance? Why does everything have to be either or? Why can't we just tell the truth about what happened and just say we've gotten better as a country, but we got a lot more work to do?
But
just tell the truth.
I don't think the improvement has been profound enough that would not have you focus on the negativity that happened. What's that I say sometimes? We've been on a journey, but we haven't traveled very far.
It just is what it is. This is the story. This is the truth of who we are. And ignoring is not going to change it.
Are they pulling all of that out regarding Jewish people, Irish people, Italian Americans? Are they pulling all their histories out?
No.
Because they've got some stories to tell too.
Absolutely. No.
You know, it wasn't all blacks in the slums in New York.
No.
It's Irish people, Italian people, black people. I mean, it was poor folk.
Yeah. No.
Maybe that distinction wasn't enough. Not just poor folk.
Yeah. No.
That you have a different level of poor, different kind of poor, based on what your ethnicity is.
Yep. All this reeks of, y'all should be glad to be here, and whatever you get while you're here, you should appreciate that. I can kick you behind it. What's that Malcolm X quote? You stick a knife in my back and you only pull it out a certain way. The knife is still in my back.
Sure.
So don't tell me it's better, but the knife's still in there.
No.
I don't care. This may be controversial to some people, but it's true. Malcolm X was not wrong about a lot of stuff he said.
No, he was right about a lot of things.
He was right about a lot of stuff he said.
And Martin's message was a softer Malcolm message, but it had the same. It was built upon the same offenses.
Yes.
Martin just had a different way of expressing those offenses. That's all.
And when you learn the truth about him, Malcolm was a little more Martin than people knew.
Yeah.
And Martin was a little more Malcolm than people knew.
Absolutely. Martin
was radical, especially later years of his life.
He just had different ways of presenting. That's all.
Yeah.
They wanted the same result.
Yes.
They didn't use the same verbiage. They marketed it different.
Yes. And Malcolm said some wild stuff younger, but as he got older and evolved, his perspective changed. But, you know, that's my philosophy. But, and they're admitting it. We want our kids to be comfortable in schools, learning about.
How does learning about your country make you uncomfortable? Or does it make you think, okay, we've got to do better than this?
Right. That's the thing.
And why remove the sensitivity? Why say we want the Holocaust taken out of a history book so I don't have any sensitivity to where these people came from?
Yeah.
You know, what kind of historic impact has history had on their lives? I think that will make us better understanding as a nation.
Yeah.
Not, you know, let's act like these people were here, slavery never happened, Holocaust never happened. You know, let's just act like that part of history is just gone.
Yeah.
That doesn't raise well-rounded people.
No. And why can't we sit there and say, look, those people back in the 1800s, 1700s, they did that. I'm not blaming my neighbor who's white, who I'm cool with, for what somebody did. But their thing is, you're blaming us now. Nobody's blaming you now.
No. But here's the issue.
Yeah.
If there was not a generational flow of bigotry, I think you could almost say that has no impact on now. But the same psychological, emotional inequality still exists.
Yeah, those things, yes.
Yeah, so it hasn't gone away.
Yeah. And if you're playing a part in that, I'm going to blame you.
Yeah.
But if you're not, it's not you. But again, if a hit dog, what they say, a hit dog?
Yeah.
If it's not you, then?
The dog knows the difference between being kicked and stepped on.
Yeah.
All you got to do is own one.
Right.
They don't yell when you step on them. Yeah, when you get
right. Hey, come on.
Come on down. Okay, we got Carol on the phone. Hey, Carol, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
Doing great, man.
Hello.
Awesome. Well, I called to talk about Donald Trump a little bit.
Go ahead.
I heard you guys earlier talking about how Republicans seem to be scared of him, especially in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to point out that no one's talking about Epstein anymore.
Okay.
Trump was president when Epstein was taken in.
Okay.
Trump likely had access to that video data. Epstein famously video recorded people in sex acts.
Right.
And we know that, the prosecution of all this initially was down in Florida. The prosecutor that gave Epstein that sweetheart deal was Acosta, who was the first labor secretary for Donald Trump.
Right.
And the man that gave Jeffrey Epstein his first professional start in business at Dalton School, teaching the children of affluent people in our population, was the father of William Barr, who became Trump's second attorney general.
Really?
And so I just think that folks should be talking about the fact that Epstein died under Trump's purview, and that there's a 30-minute video out there by some girl talking about Donald Trump raping her when she was 13 years old. I just think folks should be talking about it more.
You're telling us things at least I didn't know. I didn't see the Epstein bar. Play on words. I didn't.
Right.
I didn't see the Epstein bar connection. Wow.
I didn't know that.
Well, actually, I can make a connection now since I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
Today is day 1,195 of my prosecution here in Wayne County, Illinois, for asking cops in Walmart to put masks on. Put a mask on. I kid you not.
And they wouldn't do it?
They just can't play a video in this courtroom over here.
They wouldn't put them on?
Right, yeah. And an officer invaded my vehicle, and then the officer claimed to the grand jury that I ran him over with my car.
Oh, wow.
And so it's still ongoing because they're retiring the officer next month, and they're trying to do it like before they deal with my case.
Absolutely.
So this is year number 4.
Absolutely. And that ought to give you some encouragement, because if they're trying to get rid of him before the case, that means they think they're in peril of not winning.
Oh yeah, no. The thing is I know I'm the winner. Like I knew I was the winner from the beginning.
Right.
I mean, like I said, the officer literally invaded my vehicle in response to like 4 times before he opens my car door. I say the words, 6 feet. Give me that 6 feet.
Wow.
And he chose to invade my vehicle instead of stepping back a few feet to start the conversation.
Wow. What were they pulling you over for?
They weren't pulling me over. Okay, so May the 1st of 2020, Governor Pritzker here in Illinois enacted the mandate saying that everybody had to wear the masks in public spaces and offer distance where they could. Okay, well, here in Wayne County, this is a conservative stronghold. Voted like 88% for Trump, I think.
Okay.
And they were making jokes about it. Cops were online on Facebook making jokes about it. I called the police station on the 2nd, I think, and said, hey, if you guys don't go around and tell folks what the law is, I'm going to. Just for a little background, I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and graduated first in my major from Blackburn College in 2011.
Okay.
And I won calculus and trigonometry awards in high school and took statistics in college, and I was tracking the waves of deaths as they come across the country toward us.
Sure.
We only had 2 cases here at the time. But I called the police station the 2nd of May, I think, and I said, hey, you guys go around, tell folks what the law is, or I would. Well, they didn't. The joking continued online, and our biggest local offender was Walmart. That's like the biggest business in town.
Sure.
So I called out there on the morning of the 3rd of May of 2020, and I said, hey, you guys need to enforce this mask order. And they said, we're obeying the law. That's what they said to me.
Okay.
And I said, well, you're not enforcing the order. And they said, well, we're doing what we're going to do, essentially. And I said, well, you guys need to enforce the order. And they said that they wouldn't. And I called, that morning I was essentially harassing them, calling up there, trying to get them to say they would. And they wouldn't. And after like 30 minutes of that, the manager answers the phone, again, adamantly tells me they're not going to do what I want. And I say, well, I'm going to come down there and tell folks what the law is. And he said, you do what you got to do, and I'll do what I got to do.
Okay. Now
so I went down there.
I see it now.
Right on.
Yeah, I see it.
And I was just saying, I said to people as they arrived for work, this is before Walmart opened, and I said, are you aware that because of Governor Pritzker's mask order, you can tell folks without masks on to leave the store and you won't lose your job?
Mm-hmm.
Spread the word. That's what I was saying to them as they showed up for work. And they sent management out there who said, are you trying to buy anything? And I said no. And then he said, well, then you have to leave. And I said no, because they weren't enforcing that order. And he said, well, I'm going to call the police. And I said, thanks for doing my job for me. And the cops show up and interact maskless with this guy back and forth. And I pull up next to him and I say, you need to put a mask on. And then he pulls my car over.
Carol, you was looking for trouble that morning?
Right.
Hey, Carol, were you looking for trouble that morning? Did you wake up feeling feisty that morning, man?
You know what? My dad and my grandma are dead from respiratory distress.
Yeah.
Right.
2022.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any way I could have known, but maybe my soul knew. And I think that it was a valid protest. I say it on the video. This is a valid protest.
Right.
But they arrest me and they put me in the jail. And in the jail, there's a video of me in there telling them that if they just set a fine, that they'll get compliance. But
when is your court date?
Okay, so court date number 32 is on the 5th of next month.
We certainly will pray for you, man. Yeah. We run out of time, Carol. Thank you for calling. This is your first time calling, isn't it?
Thank you for giving me this much time. I really appreciate you all.
God bless you now. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, this has been On Point. We want you to join us tomorrow, 8 a.m. virtually, 11 a.m. in person. We're having an incredible time in the Lord in our worship services. People are being saved in great numbers. Bodies are being healed. God is giving breakthrough after breakthrough. If you like that kind of experience, you want to join us here tomorrow. We're going to have a great time once again. We're no longer requiring vaccinations to attend service. We want to make sure we invite you to our noonday and our 7 p.m. Midweek impact services. We have one at noon and one at 7 o'clock. Our back to school drive is fully underway. We're collecting backpacks for our giveaway on the 26th of this month. Purchase a backpack or donate one of our giving platforms by choosing Catch the Fire. You go to our giving platform, Catch the Fire. That's BBC of NJ and David G. Evans 1. You go to both of those and you'll see everything. If you're interested in Bethany News updates, also devotional messages for the updates, you text BBC News to 28950. For devotional messages, you text BBC Elevate to 28950. We love praying with you. Send your prayer requests to social@gotobethany.com. Love praying with you. Also, subscribe to our platforms, if you will, David G. Evans 1 and BBC of NJ on YouTube, and our podcast platforms, DGEMS, DGEMS, and On Point. For Pastor Nicholas Smith, I'm Bishop Dave G. Evans. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue a series in our Transforming Lives month, simply entitled Unbroken. You want to be a part of what God is doing. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.